The tale I am about to narrate now makes a very good one to teach little children to be safe, not only from strangers but also from people who are familiar to us and who we think can be trusted. After all, in reality, statistics clearly show that known people or even close relatives are often the offenders or perpetrators. This is the story of a young calf and Buki, a man who lived in a village on the edge of a dense forest along with his brother Malis. Buki had a weakness for juicy, tender meat, and according to his brother, Buki was really stupid and impulsive, and the very thought of meat made Buki all the more stupid. This is a tale from Haiti, and what's interesting is that Buki is also referred to as stupid hyena. Makes me wonder if it's a man or a hyena being talked about in the tale, or is it a man with the inherent traits of a hyena? Maybe. One morning, Buki sat in front of his house with a big cup of hot, freshly brewed coffee. Ah, how he enjoyed this time of the day. Every day. Now, Buki's brother Malis was very hardworking, who took care of the house, the farm, the chickens on the farm, and even cooked food and fed Buki. On the contrary, Buki just lazed around, daydreamed, and at the most watched his brother do all the work without lending a helping hand. Coming back to the morning we were talking about, as Buki sat there with his coffee, a fine-looking plump calf passed in front of his house, as it did every day, and it greeted Buki politely, as always. "Good morning, Uncle Buki." And Buki returned the greeting. "Good morning, son." And he continued to sip his coffee and stare after the calf as it went by and out of sight. Now, the calf was always careful not to get too close to Buki. Somehow, it didn't have a good feeling about the man. But all the same, it did not want to be discourteous, so it always greeted him. And of late, Buki had been thinking about the calf a little too often. That calf looks so fine and plump and young and juicy. His meat must be so tender. I must find a way to get my hands on him. One night, Buki can't go to sleep thinking about tender calf meat, and he wakes up his brother and says, "Malis, you know that calf that passes by and greets every morning. He would make such a fine dinner, don't you think?" Malis gave him a horrified look and said, "Don't you dare go there with your thoughts, Buki. Don't do anything stupid. I know how stupid you are, so stop being you." But Buki couldn't and wouldn't stop thinking and planning. He wanted the calf really bad. It was yet another morning and Buki sat in front of his house waiting for the calf to arrive as usual. Shortly, the calf walked by and greeted. "Good morning, Uncle Bookie." Bookie said, "A very good morning indeed, my son. Why don't you come over, spend some time with me? Have a chat with me. Come into my house, won't you?" Bookie was already imagining getting the calf into his house and chopping him up for dinner. But the calf replied, "Oh no, Uncle Bookie, sorry, but I can't do that. You see, my mother wants me to get some things from the market and I need to hurry or else she'll be angry." Saying so, the calf hastened to go, but Bookie called after it again. "Wait! Oh, you're always in such a hurry. At least tell me where you live. I will only come visit you one of these days." The calf felt really flustered now. It did not want to tell Bookie where it lived, but then it didn't know how to tell him without coming across as rude or scared. So it told Bookie, "You know the sprawling old tree with the big hollow at the end of the village, just inside the forest? That's where I live." Aha! Bookie now had the information he wanted. He kept repeating to himself over and over like a broken plate, "The sprawling old tree with a big hollow at the end of the village just inside the forest. The sprawling old tree with a big hollow at the end of the village just inside the forest." Bookie was thrilled. That evening, he told his brother, "Malis, you always do so much work around here. I am going to get some fine tender meat for us tonight." Malis, who was feeding the chickens, said wearily, "Just stay put, Bookie. I warn you, don't do anything stupid." But Bookie's head was full of calf meat and he wouldn't hear of anything. As the evening drew nearer, Bookie took a duffel bag and without telling Malis, he left for the tree with the hollow at the end of the village. Bookie was all excited and thrilled as he hurriedly walked towards his destination. Now, everyone in the village knew about this tree because that's where secret, mysterious ceremonies, that is, voodoo, were performed. But mostly people avoided going there because they used to get scared. Not Bookie though. You know there is a fine line between bravery and stupidity. As Bookie neared the tree, darkness had fallen, the air was chill, and there was an eeriness about the place. Bookie got a little spooked, but the thought of the calf's meat filled him with confidence and desire. Bookie could see the big hollow of the tree enveloped in darkness, and imagining the plump calf to be lying inside it, he reached into the hollow with one hand, groped about, and caught hold of a leg. Just when he thought he had gotten hold of the calf, he froze as two bright yellow eyes glowered at him from inside the hollow, and before he knew it, he felt something heavy come down on his shoulder and inflict a deep gash from the top to the bottom of his hand, all bloody and barely hanging onto his body. When he looked up, he saw a huge tiger step out of the hollow. That was it. Scared out of his wits, Bookie dropped the duffel bag, turned and ran like never before. He did not even dare look back, but he did hear the growl again behind him. Bookie ran and ran and ran and finally reached home, more dead than alive. Half his clothes had been torn and drenched in blood, and he started yelling incoherently. Malis heard Bookie's screams and came running to the door, and he was shocked to see his brother in that condition. As he helped Buki inside and undressed him and cleaned his wounds, he kept asking Buki what had happened, but all he could hear was the chattering of Buki's teeth and senseless mumbles about the calf. "Oh, Buki, you stupid Buki, I told you to leave the calf alone. What did you get yourself into?" Malis said. I needn't say. It was a really long night for both of the brothers. Next morning, as Buki sat beside his brother in front of the house with his coffee, the calf walked by as usual and greeted. "Good morning, Uncle Malis. Good morning, Uncle Buki." And all Buki would do was shiver and chatter his teeth. He did not dare to look into the calf's eyes. The calf innocently asked Malis, "Is Uncle Buki not feeling well? He seems to be in a bad shape." Saying so, the calf turned to go, and Buki then leaned over to his brother and whispered, "That calf, he looks like a nice innocent little thing in the daytime, but if you go see him in the night, he turns himself into a terrible tiger." Malis looked at Buki wryly and said, "You are so stupid, Buki." And while the brothers continued to argue, the calf walked away with a big smile on his face. So, what do you think? Was Buki right about the calf turning into a tiger, which meant the calf was a shapeshifter? Or was the calf simply smart enough to outwit Buki? Just what did that smile on the calf's face mean, I wonder?